to the Piston Fanatic. I am your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, Piston fans, we lost our 15th in a row tonight. 133 to 107 to the Los Angeles Lakers. Our record is now 2-16. Before we get started, please subscribe. I'm really close. We're really close, 60 some subscribers to getting 1,000. So that would be awesome. Before I get started with this podcast, I just want to share with you that this morning I dropped a podcast. The headline that says Breaking Piston News. And so if you find that one, it's over an hour long. And so, but we cover a lot of territory. And what I did was I went through a bunch of comments. I wish I could have got through even more comments, but I went through a lot, and a lot of them were similar to each other. And so we touched on a lot of topics that you guys are interested in or talking about. And I know we have a lot of common ground, and I know some of us have some differences, but still it's fascinating. It's fun. It's great. I love being part of this community that we have on this podcast with you guys, and thank you for listening. But again, this is hard. It is just hard and to struggle. You know, to lose 15 games in a row, and we have more talent than this. We have to play tomorrow night. The guys are playing in Detroit. They got to fly to New York City and play the Knicks, and the Knicks have been just brutal to us. You know, their defense is so tough, and they just make things so hard, and so it's going to be a real challenge to play the Knicks, and you know, they have a good team, and so we'll see what happens there. Then on Saturday, we have Cleveland. The Cleveland Cavaliers come to Detroit, and they're really good team, and they're playing really well right now. Because of the in-season tournament, all the schedules got changed. So now there's going to be this. We got the final teams that qualified, but the teams that didn't qualify, everybody's got to get the 82 games. And so part of these tournament games are part of the 82 games. So some of these teams are going to play each other one extra time, the teams that are playing in the playoffs. So that means that some of these teams that aren't in the playoffs, and they had to do a little juggling act, the NBA did, to figure out who each team was going to play. So it looked like someone had reported that we were going to get to play the Charlotte Hornets for one of our games that we had to add because of the in-season tournament, for the teams that didn't qualify for the tournament. So, but we didn't. Instead we get Orlando. But first we get the Grizzlies. So Wednesday we get to play at home again next Wednesday against the Grizzlies. So that is they're having a tough year. You know, their record's not good. They're 3-13. They're winning by like 21 last I checked tonight. So maybe they're going to get turned around. Obviously they're playing without Ja Morant, and he's been suspended for the first 25 games. So that it's going to be one of our best chances to win a game, and so we'll see what happens there. But I know the guys that were practicing hard. I know they had a great practice yesterday. Stu talked tonight and after the game, and they always send out Stu. You know, a lot of people, including me, aren't necessarily thrilled with how he plays or his game, but he is a leader of this team, and he cares and he tries hard. But they send him out to the press conference. One player gets picked, and usually it's the player who had the best game, but it seems like after a lot of tough losses, they send out Isaiah Stewart. But he said this is the biggest challenge that a lot of us have ever had to face in our lives. And you know, that tells you something. You know, a lot of people and a lot of us, and I've had some hard things in my life, but you know, these guys are they've had basketball. They've been kind of treated really well. You know, even when they played AAU, they got everybody buying everything for them and getting to go places and treated with, you know, like they were special. And so they've had that, and most of them, they all play on winning teams. And you know, there's a lot of guys that I'm sure that lost more games in this losing streak than they did in like 5 years or all throughout their high school career. So it's hard on them, and they care. And he said the spirit's still there, the energy in practice is still there, and so that's all they can do. But it's obvious that it's taken its toll on the team. It's obvious that the losing streak has really shaken the team's confidence, and it's, I think, contributing to their lack of play on the court now. But still, we just got our butt kicked tonight. Again, the last 5 games now, well, the last 4 games prior to this, we were losing by an average of 19, and then tonight we got beat, like I said, 133 to 107, even worse. So um, before we go on, I've been wondering this, and I've been wanting somebody to ask, where did Dan Burke go? So this guy was an assistant coach. He's like 60 years old, so he's old like me, but he's a great defensive coach. He coached in Indiana for a long time, over 20 years, with different coaches that were there, including Larry Bird and a bunch of different coaches, and Rick Carlisle when he was there. They coached for, he helped with a lot of different coaches. Rick Carlisle, the first time that Rick Carlisle was in Indiana. But so anyway, he is considered one of the best defensive coaches ever, and he was at Philadelphia last year, and then Doc Rivers got fired, and so he was available, and we got him, and I was thrilled with him that we got him. But now our beat writer finally asked somebody, and the only answer is personal reasons. So does personal reasons mean there's something going on in his family? Does he have an illness, or did he have a hard time, getting along with the coaching staff? I don't know if we'll ever know. So it would be nice if we would. So, I told you the last game, and I said every episode, the core four is the key thing to develop Cade, Ivey, Asor, and Duran. Well, they were rotten to the core tonight. They didn't play that well, and so that was disappointing, real disappointing, because those guys need to develop. So we'll go through those stats and talk about that. But it was just a rough night all around, and it didn't help. Delangelo Russell, he just smoked us, man. He's not always a consistently great player, but he was 13 for 17 and had shooting. He didn't hardly miss a shot. He had a bunch of assists. He had 35 points, and that kind of really sunk us. We let him go left. He's left-handed, and he kind of just drove in there. Whenever he shot a three, he made it. And they're a poor shooting team. So I've had a bunch of you guys have talked about trades, and again, this is in the episode that I recorded this morning. Again, the headline starts out breaking Piston news. So if you find that pod, I think you'd like it. So just. But some of the trades that have been mentioned is Rui Hachimura, and he's injured right now, but he is a power forward, which is our biggest area of need, and he's played really well for the Lakers. They love him. But my hope is that they're desperate for three-point shooting. Again, they are last in the league in three-point percentage and three-point baskets made per game. They are last. We're last in three-point baskets attempted, but our shooting percentage is better on threes. So they need guys like Bogey or Burks. And so who knows if that you were a trade. And somebody else mentioned Taurean Prince, and I don't think that they would trade him, and I would love to have him. And somebody also talked about, there's another guy that they have that his name's slipping me right now, but he plays with Jared Vanderbilt. So somebody suggested him, and he's a Laker, and I don't know, he didn't play tonight, so he must be injured. But he is athletic and full of energy and all over the court and plays hard, but he can't shoot. So he shoots 30%. So that's just what we can't have. And Monty even talked tonight again, but he's got to figure it out, about shooters, and it's just hard. Nobody's knocking down shots, and I think it's contagious. And I've seen it happen in sports, missing. But if I would love to get Taurean Prince anyway. That would be an ideal thing. He only was 3 for 4 tonight. All 4 shots were threes, but he's a good defensive player. He's a forward. He can play the 3 or the 4, and so it would be cool. And there's been long speculation, even last year a lot, that the Lakers were really interested in Bojan. So. Not that I want to get rid of him. I want to see what the team is like with him on the court, and I just think it will really make a big difference in our team. But we just got to get some spark back, and we just got to get a win, and so get everybody in a positive frame of mind, because it really is, like I said, contagious, and the guys are really discouraged, and it shows up in their play. And again, they're young guys, so people get mad. People are mad. Podcasters get on and they yell and they scream, and it's discouraging, and it's frustrating, and you're a fan and you like to win, and I love to win. My teams have always won. I hate losing, but these guys are doing, they care. They care. We got a good group of guys, and they try. They don't, it doesn't look like they do as much when we're losing. And I do think that their energy defensively is not where it needs to be because they're getting beat every night. And so it's just weighing on their minds real heavy. So um, we'll start with go through the box score, and Asar played 21 minutes, and he was 6 for 11 and 0 for 3 on threes. So this guy's been shooting, finishing him. He's dunking and shooting these. He's making some really cool shots. He's making these reverse layups and these real nice drives, and he's dunking. But he was 0 for 3 on threes though, and again they don't guard him. So again, there's no spacing, and he hasn't made a three in forever. It's been forever, like since way at the beginning of the season he made some, but most of the time he's 0 for 1. Tonight he was 0 for 3, but he was 6 for 8 on 2-point baskets. He had 6 rebounds, and that's not what he usually does. But again, when you look at stats, you always have to look at minutes. So when you get 6 rebounds in 21 minutes compared to if you get, what would he have if you did the equation and he played 31 minutes, and he'd have a lot more rebounds. So he had 12 points. So Stu, 26 minutes, 4 for 9, 3 for 7 on threes, and his percentage for threes has dropped way off, but he looked like he shot it with confidence tonight. 3 for 7 is all we need Stu to shoot. If he could shoot 3 for 7 on threes, and a lot of you are down on him, and I'm not. I'm not sure that he's not he doesn't love to shoot. He doesn't have the confidence. There's just some guys that just have a lot of confidence, even if they're no good. They believe that they're going to make it, and they love to shoot. And the ball they can take. He's getting wide open threes. Nobody's near him. Nobody's near Asar, and so these guys are shooting bad on threes. The league percentage for 3-point shots, the average is like 36%. That's the average on wide open threes, and it's like way higher. It's at least like 38%. I should have checked it, but before I said that, but it's at least 38, maybe higher. And every three that Stu shoots and Asar shoots, they're wide open. It's like, I don't know if they stat it in the NBA, but I think if there's a defender within 4 feet, then it's not within 4 feet. It's considered a wide open three. So that's part of the struggle. And we still have bad spacing. Duran had a hard time tonight. He got foul trouble right away. So my concern about Duran is he only played 18 minutes, and he didn't play hardly in the second half. And I think that I'm hoping it's not his ankle's injured. I'm hoping that they just kept him out because we were getting blown out, and it was precautionary. He did get some early fouls, but he still, even when he has a bad game, he was 3 for 8. He took some jumpers and stuff, and that weren't good shots for him. And when the team struggles, it's some of these guys just take some shots that aren't their good shot. And I guess if you're winning and things are going good, then you can take some chances and hoist some shots up. But it just wasn't going to be. He had 7 rebounds. 7 rebounds in 18 minutes is awesome. But 2 turnovers in 18 minutes, and he only handles the ball so limited is bad. So anyway, Cade did not look good tonight. Cade, especially in the first half, he just struggled. First quarter, he didn't get any shots. He didn't get any shots. He shot like 1 shot the whole first quarter. Then he didn't get put back in until there was like 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and then he got some shots up. But he was driving it in. He forced it in, like a lot of you are frustrated with him for doing that. I think that when there's a guy like Anthony Davis in there, Cade's going to struggle, because he gets deep in there, but he's such a great shot blocker. Anthony Davis is one of the best in the league, and he got blocked, or he just couldn't get the shots up. So he ended up 6 for 15, which is not good. 2 for 4 on threes. So his last 34 3-point attempts, he's shooting over 40%, and so that's good. He just needs to get more open shots. Again, Monty talked about putting him off the ball and putting Ivey on the ball, or even Killian or Sasser on the ball. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen tonight. They have to figure out something with more movement and more screens, and get Cade off the ball and get him coming off a pin down, and just let some of those other guys penetrate and then kick it to Cade. And then Cade, if he's open, he can shoot it, or then he can drive instead of just bringing the ball down the court and trying to ram it down people's throats when there's no spacing because we don't have enough shooters and they pack the lane in, and so he's going up in traffic. The thing that he was really effective in, especially last year, the last 7 games, he played in 12 games, the last 7 games, he would get just inside the elbow on either side and shoot that pull-up jumper. And he can't get to that spot for whatever reason now. There's just not enough space in there, so he ends up having to take it deeper. And one of my viewers, they hate his pump fakes, his 9 pump fakes. Multiple viewers, listeners, mentioned that in their comments. So it's true. And sometimes if there's not a whole bunch of people there, but when he's doing it, he's surrounded. If there was just one person, to do that fake, then he can do it up and under or step through move, and still get the shot off, and he's been able to do that. But anyway, he had 2 for 4 on threes, 1 for 1 from the line. He shot a technical, never got fouled. He still doesn't get fouled. 4 rebounds, which isn't bad for 23 minutes. 5 assists, which isn't bad. 2 turnovers, so that's okay. It's not for 23. He only played 23 minutes, so that's significantly less than what he normally plays. So it's usually he plays over 10 more minutes than that. So that makes your stats a lot higher. But he had 15 points. He was minus 33, and that was the worst on the team. So if you want to hate Cade, you can, but I still believe in him, and I still think that he's got to figure it out. They got to watch film, they got to show him things, and they got to create, like I said, they got to create movement and have more picks away from the ball, take Cade off the ball. It doesn't have to be all the time. I still love Cade on the ball. I'm not saying take Cade off the ball all the time. He's good with the ball. He wasn't tonight, but a lot of games he is. But it's just when the defense is all set there. They just need to try different things, especially if he's struggling. So speaking of struggling, Cade and Ivey, he played 19 minutes and fouled out, and he got a lot of tough calls, and he had to try to guard Russell, and Russell was like lighting everybody up, but it transferred to his offense. So he's frustrated about his fouls and his defense, and then he's 1 for 6 shooting, and it was a 3-pointer. It was his only bucket that he made all night, and he was 1 for 2 on threes. So we didn't get the open threes. So Cade only shot 4 threes, and Ivey only scored 3s, but they both didn't shoot. Both didn't play that many minutes. Also, Ivey didn't get any shots in the first quarter. So here we are, our 2 best offensive players, and we're out there playing. And even after we rotated some guys in, our 2 best scorers did not get shots. And that's a problem. So, hopefully they can get that figured out. So Bagley played only 14 minutes and was 2 for 4, a little worse than he usually is. Usually he's 3 for 4, but he played very limited minutes, so it's really interesting. He put Wiseman in before Bagley again, and Bagley had seemed like clearly won the backup center position, and then he played all 3 guys though tonight. So he played Wiseman only 12 minutes, Bagley 14 minutes, and Duran 18 minutes. So played all 3 centers tonight. So none of them played that much, and part of it was caused because it was a blowout. But you would think that he would play, like Wiseman more because it was a blowout. But Wiseman was 2 for 2, 12 minutes, 5 rebounds in 12 minutes, and 4 points. So, what else can he do more than that? But Killian, 22 minutes, and he had kind of a typical Killian game, which is a little bit heartbreaking that he played 22 minutes, 3 for 9. So that's what he shoots, 33%, and 0 for 3 on threes. And so that's the challenge because the guy had 8 assists. He had 8 assists and 0 turnovers in 22 minutes on this team. And again, I'm not a fan of playing him because we don't have spacing and he can't shoot. But that's a great game. He had 7 points, but he again 8 assists and 0 turnovers. So that's great. Burks only 10 minutes. So I'm interested in what Monty's thought process is because he struggled for a long time now since he's got hurt, and again he was on fire at first. He was so good last year. He just was consistent. He was like rock solid. He shot, like 50%. I mean, he shot high on twos, but then he shot 40% on threes, and he did it consistently, even though he played few minutes. He'd always score a whole bunch of points in 20 minutes last year, but he isn't certainly doing it now, and we need him more than ever. But Stanley Umude played 20 minutes, and he was 2 for 9, 2 for 5 on threes, 2 for 2 on free throws, 6 rebounds, and 8 points. And that's a good stat line for the rebounds for only playing 20 minutes, but he didn't shoot that well. I mean, 2 for 9's, 2 for 5 on threes is great. So, but he missed all of his 2-point shots. Sasser, he let Sasser have a lot of run tonight. I mean, I think we got to find out again. We got to play Sasser because, we're losing. Our team's not doing well, and we might as well find out and give him minutes and see what he can do, because he certainly showed signs of being great early in the year. But he was 3 for 8, 1 for 3 on threes, 2 for 2 from the line. He had 7 assists, and he had 2 steals and 2 blocks in only 28 minutes, and he had 9 points. So not a bad game. We shot 41%. They shot 51%. They were on fire between Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell. They had it going. So we were 15 for 37 on threes for 40%, which is really good. They were, they were 15 for 35, which was 34%. So they shot. They're not usually a good 3-point shooting team, but tonight they really got helped out because D'Angelo Russell made a high percentage of his threes, so that made a big difference for them. But here's what kills me. Started right from the beginning of the game, and doesn't do any good to whine, because it's not why we lost. We got annihilated. We didn't just get beat, but it's still you can't tell me that it's right. At one time the fouls were like 4 to 19, and that's just not right. And they were 31 for 38 on free throws, and we were 12 for 14. And so, it's the young team that's losing, and the respected team that's got 2 of the all-time greats on it. They're going to get the calls, but it seems it's still not right. But we had 40 rebounds. They had 49, so we usually never get out-rebounded. But we did. We had 14 turnovers, which isn't bad for us. Again, 14 is good. 14 is what we have to. The most I figure we should get and still be able to win a game. But here again, we got killed. So 12, and they only had 12 turnovers. But Anthony Davis was 9 for 15, 28 points, but he had 10 for 13 on free throws. So just like Kuzma, last game against the Wizards, he got all these extra points because he got to the line so many times. So. Taurean Prince, again, I talked about him a little bit, 3 for 4 on threes, and he'd be a good guy for the Pistons to get. Russell was 13 for 17, so that he missed 4 shots, and he's a guard, so he's not just getting dunks and little easy shots, but he was impressive tonight, and he's been that way throughout his career. He's been an all-star before. He's had some really great games and really great stretches, and he scored 40 in a lot of games in his career, but everybody kind of wants to get rid of him. He's bounced around. He was with the Lakers they drafted him way a long time ago, but LeBron James and a lot of people don't like him, and I'm not a fan of LeBron's. I mean, I don't love watching him play. I don't love listening to him play, to what he has to say all the time. But I know a lot of people don't like him because he takes a little bit of a political stance. I don't know why they don't like him, but some people don't like him because they think Michael Jordan was the greatest, so they don't want anybody to compare. But my thing is, Michael Jordan went to the NBA Finals 10 times, and Michael went to the NBA Finals 6. And I'm not saying who's better. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but when you make it 10 times, and one guy is 6 for 6, but he doesn't make it, he makes it to the finals 4 less times. It's better than not making it to the finals. So I always hate that argument, though, because when you can make it to the finals, it is something, and obviously winning it at the finals is better. But when one guy does it 10 times, makes it to the finals, and one guy only does it 6 times, then he deserves some credit. So funny thing, they pulled up the stat that LeBron had. He scored 40,000 more career points than the Piston starters. So the Piston starters combined scored like maybe 6,000 or 7,000, and LeBron scored over 47,000 points. So That's another little stat. So anyway, again, I'm going to have this be a short one, but please subscribe and please go and listen to that other one. Again, I mentioned a lot of people. I did a terrible job saying your handle, but I did the best I could, and I'm going to try to do this again later because I think it makes a real good podcast, hearing the things that you guys have to say and what's on your mind and your ideas, and then I put in my 2 cents, and I think it ends up being pretty good. But it's over an hour long, so if you got a long drive somewhere, put it on. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. Again, please subscribe. Be the reason that somebody feels cared for and loved and heard. And go Pistons.